Oh, hey everyone.
Welcome to Podcast for Your Life.
It's a podcast where we share thoughts from our life.
For yours, I'm Jason.
I'm Jam, and what are we talking about today?
We're talking about how great you look.
Oh my gosh. Me?
Yeah, you look great today.
This whole thing?
Yeah, that old thing. Looks great on you.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Dude, can't you just take a compliment?
No, I can't
Oh,
very easily take one anyway.
okay. Well, thanks for that's a great segue. We're going to be talking about today compliments.
And we had-
Compliments for your life.
I have to be honest, we did stage that. You probably couldn't tell, but we staged that.
No, I
conversation.
genuinely think you look good in that.
Oh, well, in that case, I apologize. I was being a character.
So, Jam, what are compliments and why?
Compliments. I was thinking about it, and clearly we didn't look this up and stuff or whatever. Sometimes we do that. We did not this time. Clearly, something complements something when it adds to it in some way. So it's just something that's adding to something. But I think the distinction that compliments have is that they don't have to be like a really deep thing. Usually, it's like sometimes you get complimented about something somewhat shallow, not in a bad way, but I mean it's like about how you look, or I feel like most times compliments have to do with something that's more appearance based. Would that be your characterization as well?
Yeah, it's like a kind word, like a notable thing that you've done, and you're just like, hey, basically maybe there's gratitude involved, maybe, or even just generosity or thoughtfulness. But yeah, I agree. I think with compliments, I tend to think of them as like, oh, thanks for, cooking this great meal, or, hey, thanks so much for helping me out to my car, or, hey, you look really nice today, or, man, it's really cool. I love your new haircut. Where it's not so much that those are like fake or necessarily superficial things, but they aren't the deepest things compared to like, man, I just really appreciate you as this friend, and I think you just have a heart for blah, 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 which seems to be that's what I would consider like encouragement. So
Yeah.
compliments can be encouraging, and they usually are. Like, they're not really negative feedback, but it's not like, I don't know. I don't feel like I've ever been like moved by a compliment,
Yeah.
to the point of tears.
Well, I agree with that. I think, but I do think I would make a little bit different distinction. I don't know if thanking someone for something is a compliment. I feel like it's more of an unwarranted kind of thing. Like, I think most times, and we can differ on this. It's obviously it's not like some ancient document that tells us what a compliment is and isn't. But
Wait, there isn't?
I think of like if someone did something really nice for you, or they made you a meal and you thank them for it. To me, that's one thing. But then a compliment, I think for the most part, is just sort of, it didn't have to be said. It's not necessarily expected. When you make somebody something, like if I made you dinner, even if you didn't like, it wasn't the most amazing thing in the world.
That's true.
I would expect you to say thanks, just because it's like culturally normal.
It's true. But whether or not the food was good
Yeah.
remains to be seen.
But whereas like a lot of compliments, at least when I receive them, I think of them as more of something that you didn't necessarily expect, and no one is expected to say. So saying like, "You look nice today." "Oh, did you get a haircut? It looks great." That kind of stuff, I think, is very like, it all falls in this category of you don't expect it, it's not needed, but it's a choice people make to comment on, and
Yeah.
it's not like a thank you. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that makes sense. There can be like thankfulness involved, but I would agree. It probably is more of like, you can thank somebody for the dinner they made you, but if it's a good dinner and you're mentioning that it's a good dinner, then it's like, oh, cool. I wasn't expecting that, or oh, I didn't think this was good, or oh, this old thing, Yeah, that's good. What would you say? Like, how do people differentiate from like genuine kindness and flattery? Because I feel like it's probably really easy for some folks. Like, my wife would be one person where she takes compliments, but especially when we were like initially dating, she was always a little suspicious about like, am I just like flattering her, or am I genuinely complimenting her about something?
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, I think there is a category of that kind of stuff where it's people are saying things because they're just trying to flatter, or maybe they feel obligated, or even worse, they do it because they want something else.
Right, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Which I don't know how much that happens to me, but I think it's something that people do experience. But yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's tough whenever you really want someone to know, like, hey, this is a compliment. I wouldn't say this if I didn't just want to, you know? Em has a really hard, I think I have a hard time taking compliments, but Em has a really hard time taking compliments. And I would say that she hasn't gotten better since, like, when we first were dating and stuff. She's, like, exactly the same. She, like, to the point where she'll, like, you, like, give her a compliment, she'll be like, no. Like, she'll, like, deny it, which is crazy to me. I'm like, no, you don't get to do that, okay? I get to make this compliment, and you just have to take it, okay?
Yeah. I would probably be on the side of, like, false modesty of, like, oh, no, it wasn't that good, even though inside I'm thinking, like, best meal ever. Like,
Yeah.
but then again, that probably is just pride.
Yeah, yeah, and I've definitely experienced that. I think sometimes, too, I feel the need, if someone compliments me on something, I feel the need to downgrade it a little bit, like to explain to them, like, oh, that wasn't really amazing, it's just a thing that you can do when you're editing video. Or it's like, oh, it wasn't really amazing, it's just something that is, like, blah, blah, blah. I just try to fill in the if there's any mystery to something, trying to explain it more. To me, it seems like
Right.
it takes away some of the compliment or whatever. I'm like, oh, no, it's not, I didn't, you know.
It's like almost explaining the magic trick, but, like, it's basically like explaining the magic trick, so it kind of takes some of the magic of the experience away for the person.
Yeah.
And so you're basically kind of undermining their desire to compliment you.
Yeah, and it's also because sometimes it's hard to know just how to respond instead of just saying, like, oh, thank you, I agree, I do look great, or something. But most times, the kind of situations I'm in like that are people commenting on something I've, like, worked on, like I've made it, or I created or helped do, or something I have. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, it's a cool backpack, or it's like, oh, are those the whatever headphones, or just something, fill in the blank, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you feel the need just to tell them information about it. Like, it's not really a compliment, I guess, if they just said, is that the such and such headphones? But if people are like, oh, cool headphones, dude, or cool hat, or something like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, I just feel the need to be like, oh, yeah, I bought this at a place in a town. It's so stupid. I feel like such an idiot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because, yeah. So I think when it comes to compliments, I think they really are subjective, I think is what we're discovering. Because even if there's objectively no magic about a specific situation, but somebody felt that little bit of magic, because I can't think of another word, so I'm using magic. The warm fuzzies there. I think that like if somebody, because like you could have two people at the same meal, one person genuinely thought that the meal was amazing and the other person thought the meal was super mediocre. Mm-hmm. But the person who thought it was the best compliments the person, you know, because then it's like, well, I didn't think it was that great, you know, because you don't get people coming up like with compliments and saying, oh yeah, the food was delicious. No, it wasn't. Like,
yeah, right.
Because then it gets into people just kind of know, like, I'm not going to shoot down that compliment because I know that it's subjective.
Yes, right. There is an understanding, a collective understanding that compliments are subjective, and you don't have to share the opinion of someone complimenting. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's interesting how many of yours have to do with food. It's clear that you most
I
want to
love
be
food.
You most want to be complimented, and you most want to compliment in regards to food. I'm now finding out.
Are you complimenting me on that? Or?
Yeah, I think it's. I love how consistent you are in your desire for and to compliment.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. So, do you have any stories about, like, a time that a compliment either just, like, something blew up because of it, or because I feel like you would have more of those because you're like I don't really care, or do you have a story that's like, you know, that really meant a lot and I knew they were being genuine?
Here's one story that comes to mind. I remember somebody complimenting a video I worked on. I was early in college, I think. I was back home for the summer, and I'd worked on a video for my church. It was basically like a camp video kind of thing for the kids' camp that happened. And I was being complimented on it, and I was having a hard time taking that compliment. I kept wanting to be like, oh, it's, you know, we just threw it together, or I don't know. I didn't know how to respond. And then that person ended up telling me, like, listen, no, I'm trying to compliment you. Just say thank you and that you appreciate it.
Yep.
And it was like, ouch. But they were right. I mean, it was like, sometimes all you have to just do is say like, thanks so much, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out too, or something like that. You could just, it doesn't have to be a complicated response, really, and it doesn't kill you to just say thank you. In fact, sometimes that's really the way to best honor maybe somebody's desire to compliment you if it's actually genuine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only story that really comes to mind. I remember feeling bad in that moment because they kind of saw right through me. They're like, no, let me compliment you. Like,
Yeah.
You're not going to take this away from me, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like it honors the person giving the compliment to, like, receive it. You know, because, like, people aren't giving compliments, I don't think, because they want to, like, get slapped back in the face with their compliment. Like, oh, that was such a delicious meal. No, it wasn't. Psh, you know, like, whoa, like, I wasn't expecting that, you know? So it's but I also think it's, I don't know, it's interesting. It's like, I think in ancient civilizations, I think honor is like a bigger deal than it is in our present Western world.
Right.
Where I just think a lot of people are uncomfortable with encouragement and honoring. Maybe it's just because we have such just, I don't know, hostile culture or whatever. But it seems like even growing up, that was actually something I had to learn just through different experiences, was like honoring people can be this special thing, but also receiving it is almost like its own little skill that you have to almost learn.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, I feel so uncomfortable because these are all like nice words, and like, it's not like I'm like, oh, I hate all the things that people are saying about me, but it's also at the same time I don't want to be like, I don't know what are all these weird feelings churning inside me?
Yeah. And there's that saying that's like, I think it's said a few different ways, so it's not one wording of it, but like, it's the blessing of the giver to give the gift. It's like,
Sure.
It's sort of this inherent thing that we have about, we as humans to some degree enjoy and like to give things or compliments or words or whatever. Some part of us really enjoys that, and like we are in turn sort of like, it brings us joy to do that. And so kind of just letting people compliment you brings them joy, so kind of just let it happen is one of the things that I feel like I've learned over time.
Yeah, that's good, because it's almost like for the people who like giving gifts, it's more joyful for them to give the gift than for you to receive the gift.
Yeah,
in the way that you would prefer to receive it or whatever. So, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
this whole thing.
This whole thing. But it's funny how there are norms that we like recognize about that. Like this whole thing as a response is like a very well-known joke, or like, oh, you shouldn't have, or that kind of stuff. Those responses,
yeah,
it's like we are very predictable to the point where we can laugh at each other for those kinds of things that are norms. But
it's true. Cool. Well, any compliments for our audience, for our listeners today?
I like your sweatshirt. Talking to Jason, by the way, not you guys.
Oh.
And I do like your New Balance shoes. I've always loved that style of sneaker, and I think you rock it.
I had these before they were cool. They came like they had like a resurgence.
They totally did
in like the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And I think the resurgence was due in part to that Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher. There's this one scene where he has like the maroon New Balance 655s, and I was like, I have those shoes. I got mine at Academy for $30.
Yeah. I mean, he always
and
wore
they were not cool at all.
The same pants and the same shirt and the same shoes. Oh, another compliment I have to give you is that so Jason has a beard, if you don't know what it looks like, and his beard looks great. And
thanks,
I
Jim.
can't grow a beard, and so it brings me joy to compliment his beard because I can't grow one, but at least I can compliment a beard that has merit nearby, you know?
Wow, my beard has merit. I'm honored. Well, I guess I'll say that your shirt looks good, and I'm impressed that you can have 3 different hairstyles on one day.
Okay.
On that note,
let's wrap this up. This is like way too positive of an episode, but maybe we needed it. So.
Yeah, I think we all needed it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate you all, and we're grateful for your listening-ship, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.